What is up, guys? I'm continuing my kind of old game series today with something pretty unusual. In case you don't recognize it, I'm showing Tatsunoko versus Capcom. So this game came out a while ago, I think like 2010 or 2011, and it wasn't really very popular amongst the fighting game tournament community for a few reasons. I think primarily, it came out on Wii, and no one wanted to play fighting games on Wii. No one had a Wii stick or wanted to buy one. And then also, not a lot of people really know what Tatsunoko is. It's an anime company, in case you weren't aware, but, in America, a pretty obscure company, not like Marvel. Everybody knows Marvel. So anyway, the game didn't do that great. It wasn't really widely adopted, but interestingly, in the last year or so, there's been a little bit of like a mini revival. It's not huge by any means, but due to stuff like the Dolphin emulator coming out, you can play this game emulated on your computer, and you can play online through Dolphin, and it's actually really amazing online. In the videos playing right here, I am playing against a friend of mine who lives in California, and I live in Chicago, and it's like really seamless. It feels like he's right here, so it's great online, and I'm posting a link in the description for a Discord server that people use to kind of set up matchmaking for the game. So if you hop in there, the directions of how to set the game up on Dolphin are in there as well. You can get playing online. There's generally always people there who will be happy to play you, and it's pretty fun. It's a pretty good online experience. So anyway, I'll talk a little bit more about the game itself. So like I said, no one in America really knows what Tatsunoko is, and a lot of the characters kind of look similar. A lot of them have capes and masks on their face, but even though they might look pretty similar, they play super different. And in this video, I'm trying to show off a few, a variety of characters, both Capcom and Tatsunoko, so you can get an idea of how differentiated they are. And if you do try out the game, I recommend that you definitely give the Tatsunoko characters a try. You can play Chun-Li or Ryu, but to me, it's a little bit boring, And the Tatsunoko characters are really unique and really fun to play. And then you can kind of get sad at the fact that you're probably never going to be able to play him in another game. As far as I know, this game did pretty badly commercially, and it definitely didn't receive a lot of tournament play. So there's probably not going to be another one of these anytime soon. But I mean, you never know. So yeah, when it came out, also keep in mind that this was at least a year, maybe 2 years before Marvel vs. Capcom 3. No one even knew that they were going to make a Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The last Versus game before this was Marvel 2, which came out in like 2000. So people kind of didn't know what Capcom was thinking with this. Like, what the heck is Tatsunoko? But it's pretty fun, and you can see the ways that this game kind of served as like a test bed for some of the elements that they ended up putting in Marvel 3. So stuff like 4 buttons. This game has, light, medium, heavy, just like Marvel, instead of in the previous games where you would have, different buttons for punches and kicks. And, this game has a system called Baroque, which you can probably see whenever the characters go rainbow-colored. That's Baroque. And Baroque is a cancel, kind of like how you can cancel any attack with X Factor. You can cancel any attack with Baroque. But instead of just being like a single meter like you have for X Factor, Baroque spends your red life, which is kind of funny. I don't think any other Capcom game lets you use your red life for like offensive purposes. So when you Baroque, it uses up all your red life, and then you do damage relative to how much red life it used up. So, you can do a bunch of little Baroques, spending your red life a little bit at a time, and then you won't get much of a damage boost, but, sometimes it's worth it to cancel the attack. Or you can do you can do a small amount of huge Baroques where you spend like half your life bar in red life, and then you can usually do one-touch kills if you do that and stuff like that. But be careful not to get bursted. That was another really controversial thing about this game, is that it has a burst. And it's pretty cheap to burst. It only costs 2 meters. So, I would say that's probably the weakest aspect of the game to me, is that you get bursts so often, and it kind of goes against the spirit of the Versus series to me. You want to get the really awesome air juggles, you want to get the big combos. So it can be kind of frustrating when you work really hard to get that one hit and then the opponent immediately bursts it. But still, despite that, I think the game is really fun. Hopefully you've been able to see kind of what the different characters are capable of. Every character has an air dash in this game, which is different from Marvel 3. And then most characters also have a double jump. Not everybody has a double jump, but most. So you can get around the screen really fast. The game is a lot about air movement. You can see a lot of, setting up air dashes, trying to get frame advantage, trying to land your big combos and stuff like that. The mix-ups are fast and furious in this game. It's kind of brutal when you're on the defensive, just like Marvel, But there's also good zoning in this game. You probably saw earlier, Duranjo is a good zoning character with all these weird kind of traps you can put on the screen. Morrigan, just like Marvel 3, good zoning character. So there's definitely variety there. Because the potential isn't really there to do 100% with one combo like you can in Marvel 3. There's a lot of interesting neutral game, and some interesting zoning too. And like I said, the characters are really, really differentiated. And despite the fact that it's only a 4-button game, there's a ton of depth in every character. Because of the different systems that the characters have, as well as Baroque. Baroque opens up a lot of stuff because you can cancel your attacks so much. You can make yourself safe on block. You can use it to start extra offense. Cancel off overheads, stuff like that. So it's a really interesting game. I recommend you give it a shot if this looks like fun to you. Like I was saying, check out the Discord in the description below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll probably be doing more old game videos in the future, more Street Fighter V videos as always. So thanks again, and have a good one.